Today in Capture School, 5 tips to get better holiday light photos. Welcome to Capture School. I'm Scott Hartwick, and with me today is Nick Pappagallo. Nice to see you, Nick.
To see you.
Let's jump right in. We've got several photos to show you and examples, and let's just go.
Yep. So the first tip that you came up with here is an obvious one, but maybe not for everyone. So use a tripod.
Use a tripod. You're going to be doing a lot of these photos are going to be longer exposures, and if you're in a place where you can use a tripod, you should use a tripod. It just steadies everything.
Yep. And a good tripod, you're in the dark. This place was pitch black except for these candles. This was up in Arizona. They do this one night a year. We actually missed it this year. We were here recording, I think, or something.
We were, yeah.
And people are walking around in the dark on their cell phones and not paying attention to you as a photographer. So if you have a $50 or free tripod you got with your, Rebel, and someone hits it, everything gets broken.
Yep. So second image shows another great example of why to use a tripod. There's a lot of points of light there, and you're going to be closing down your aperture so you get everything into focus, and you're going to have several seconds exposure.
Yeah, I think you said this was at like f10 or 12 or 14, something like that.
And in like 2-3 seconds exposure.
2-3 seconds. So now steady tripod and a trigger release is something else. So if you're shaking your camera by pressing the button.
Yep. You can do like a 2-second timer or use a remote trigger.
Yep.
This is the same display, but from the other side.
Yep.
That's the secret reason why we chose this.
Tip number 2 is to play with your manual focus. So this is perfectly in focus. For the next shot of this Merry Christmas right here, I took it and put it in manual focus and started turning the ring to give me some bokeh balls. So you've seen this in many different applications. And you could play with how large they get so that you can actually make them really pinpoint.
Depending on the focus.
To very large. LEDs work great for this.
The LED Christmas lights?
These are LEDs, you'll try to do this on some lights and it won't work.
Yeah.
See, these don't look LED-ish to me. These look like regular Christmas lights. They're a little bit duller.
Yeah.
I can't explain why. It's just the way it throws light off.
But these LEDs are great.
LEDs are great. You get different shapes depending on. You get octagons. All different kinds of fun stuff. Yep. And you can play with this. I've seen people like have a coffee cup and then have the Christmas tree behind and it looks like they're coming out of the coffee cup. You can get really creative with this. These are just examples of just the bokeh.
And another way to do this is if you're doing a portrait of someone, have these off in the distance in the background and use a wider open aperture.
Yep.
To get them out of focus, the same thing will happen in the background. It looks really nice.
Definitely.
Okay, tip number 3.
Use motion blur, because why not?
Yep. So a couple different ways to do this, right?
So this is at a festival here there was all different lights. And again, this worked with some of the lights, not all of them. But I center myself up with the subject, and then I zoom all the way in. I lock my focus on, and then again do like 2 seconds, and then you would turn the zoom ring to zoom out. Yeah, totally different look if you zoom in. You wanna zoom in first, get your focus, and then zoom out. So this is actually in focus, but I'm hand holding it and zooming it out.
And I think the next one this one really shows it. This is pretty amazing.
Yep, and this is just a little snowflake. It's only about this big. Zoomed all the way in the center and pulled out. I had to do it like 6 or 7 times till I got one that I really liked.
Yeah, because each one's different again.
Right? Yeah, if you're off center, it looks totally different.
So I think centering on the center of the shape
gives you a very like uniform look.
Yeah, and were you on tripod or did you hand hold these?
Kind of both. So to get centered up, I'll kind of close the tripod legs and more use like a monopod because again, you're moving it anyway. You're making a blurry photo. It's not as essential, and you can't always get the look you want when you're on the tripod. So I'll use some of it, not all of it. This works on neon signs too, if you need to practice.
Okay, cool.
This is the zoom effect, but you can also sweep it, shake it, move it. So
just
long
to drag
exposures.
The colors.
Yep.
Cool.
Exactly. Tip number 4, get the correct exposure.
Yeah, so in a lot of these photos we've looked at, the colors of the lights are what's correctly exposed, and allowing everything to go to black is completely okay. I mean, even the pictures of the scene, you look at that, everything's black except for what's lit up, and that's what you do. If you try to get an exposure for the background and buildings and all those things, these lights are all just going to get blown out.
Definitely.
Important.
And there's not a color corrected screen behind us, so it looks a lot better on the MacBooks. It's actually really black sky compared to up there. So.
And the same with this one. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
You expose for what's important and let everything else go away. So manual exposure is probably.
Yeah. So I'm exposed for the luminaries on this one there.
Yep.
So manual exposure, you're going to do your exposure for the lights, like you said. Play around with the white balances to get there's many different white balances in this picture. You have the sky, you have the big lights, you have the parking lot lights, you had the people with their iPhones and stuff, and you got to play with that and make sure you get the warm color that I was looking for in this image.
Sure. Or you can just change it completely. You
You
get
can, yeah.
multicolored lights. You can change the image completely just by changing the white balance, either in the camera or in post.
Yep. And then one more tip on the exposure too, if you want to get that starburst effect that you see on headlights and Christmas lights, different things like that, you can use that aperture effect to be able to get that as well.
Down to like f16, f22, get it pinpoint, and then it'll happen on their own. You have to.
And it doesn't work with every light too. It really depends.
Yeah.
So last tip.
The last tip is have fun. They're Christmas lights. Get out there and have some fun. Play around with it. It's digital. We're not wasting film anymore. So get out there and try these things.
Yep.
We'd like to see the comments. Let us know how it all went for you. And as always, like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.